Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Emily. In today's video I will be sharing how you can create 2 interactive Christmas cards using only one stamp set and the coordinating dies. For one of my projects I will also be using the arch-shaped products that was released last month from Trinity. And I will show you when I get to that part. But first off, I started off by coloring in my images using Olo and Copic markers. Both of these markers are alcohol based, and that is my favorite or my preferred medium to use when I'm coloring in stamped images. I'm just tracing here the image and then going over it, trying to get a smooth transition where I have been coloring in. And you will see that when I went to color in the red Santa hat here, I actually messed up quite a bit. But don't worry, I will show you how I fixed it in a second. When I was done with the green color here, I went in with the next one and I decided to have a different color for all of my Santa's hats. Super sweet. I just really love how this turns out, and you can see I'm speeding up this quite a lot so you don't have to see me coloring all of this in. It took me quite some time. You can see here I really messed up with that. It bled terribly. I'm taking my blending marker here, and that would sort of push the color back in and down to the paper. You can see I'm having a paper underneath to catch it and also to make it a little bit easier to do this. And I will go in later with a white gel pen to cover up the rest, but this is a really good trick just to go outside, let the image dry a little bit before going to do this, and don't color next to it before you have done this part. But you should be fine. You can see now it looks totally okay. My black line had gotten a little bit sort of affected by all of that ink pushing first out and then in again. So I will go in with a black marker at the very end and just make sure that I have a crisp line. But don't worry, if you mess up like this, keep going. You can save nearly every mistake that you are creating. You can even color over images and stuff like that if you have to. But pushing the color away is a really good way of saving it. And also, you can see here when I'm going in with my color for my beard, I'm starting with the line where the red is, so I'm really pushing that back. So now I have colored in both of my images, and now I will go in with my white gel pen. You can see some of the parts are still a little bit sort of noticeable outside of my Santa hat, but the more I'm coloring this, the more like I'm covering all of that up. And when I go to die cut this, I think you can't even tell that I messed up that badly. It would have been fun to have a before and after picture of this. So of course I had to go in and see if I could find a before and after picture. I slowed this down so you can see the transformation, and I think it was quite good. So then I went in and cut down a panel from the Emergency Card Kit Essential. I think it was the number 1. And then I'm taking the Elegant Christmas Sentiment set and I will just place it on top of an acrylic block, and then I will go in and do some stamping on top of cardstock. This is a pink cardstock, and I will do some tone-on-tone stamping here, just offsetting it a little bit and then go on. And you can see this took me quite some time, but I think the effect in the end will be worth it. And I think it's easier to do it with an acrylic block than to do it like in a misty or so. And I will also go in with Trinity's blending brush, and I just had some paper that laid on the floor actually. Just picked it up and used it as a catcher for all of the excess ink. I took some white ink, and it was quite dry, so you can see all the lines it created. If I had watered it down in the beginning, I wouldn't have gotten those. For my second card I did the same thing. I will speed this up quite a lot so you don't have to see me fuss around with this. It doesn't take that long, it just is a repeating action that you're doing. Don't have to be straight. I just eyeballed it and thought it was good enough. And yeah, I will do the same thing with the green inking to the sides, just going around. And when I was happy with how all of this looked, I will go on and start cutting into this piece. Sounds quite terrible when I say it like that, but it will be so good in the end. So I splattered both of them, and I will now start cutting. And you can see I have my card bases ready. I have my images. I decided to pair the 3 with that one, and the stacking ones on the other one. And for my first one, this is the one I'm going to use the coordinating dies for. You could also use a shape if you like, and I will show that in a second. I could cut into my panel with the coordinating dies. I will remove it. I will take some temporary adhesive just to hold this down. I will open my card base. You can see this is a side folded card, and I will cut it once more so I get the inner piece as well. And I just cut it twice just to make it easier and then to get a clean cut. And then I can attach these two together. So I have my card front ready. So I just have some liquid glue to the back side of this, pressing it down, lining it up to the best of my ability, and then we have our popping image on the inside. So for knowing how big my pop-up can be, I'm trying to measure here how far or how high it can be, and then I'm going in with my scoring tool and just scoring this a couple of times until I get the perfect sort of alignment. And you can have different measurements. It doesn't have to be the ones I used. I think you can have, you can have your own measures. So I will show you which measurements you need to take here. I just created a piece that was large enough for my space between the die. The cut I did with the die, you can see here, it has to fit behind that part. I hope that makes sense. And the scoring of them in the middle. And I also decided to have some red paper on the inside, so I decided to go ahead and attach that before I did this step. And when I'm happy with that, I will open this up, put some liquid glue to the back and close it once more so it attaches. And then I'm a little bit impatient here, but you get an idea of how you are going to do this. I just have this shape, and this will be my interactive piece. I should let this rest before I'm doing the next part here. Then I'm taking some adhesive to the front of this, and then I will attach my image. And you can see here in a second, when I have attached everything, that it will pop up and float on the inside of my card. Hope this makes sense. I'm sorry for not showing you how it looked. I will show you the finished result here in a second. We will keep working on our second panel. I will do the same steps as I did on my first one. I will cut this with this is now the arch-shaped card die, and I cut first on the front panel, then I attached it one more time, run it through my machine, and then I cut the front here. You can see I've opened my card base so I don't cut into the back of my card because that I don't want. And then I can attach this to the front. You can see that I'm just using some liquid glue here, lining it up to the best of my ability. And you can see that green piece, I will actually save it and use it for this background for my image. So it will look something like that. Now I'm scoring it. So this had other measurements than the first one. So you can see that this one, they are all, depending on where you cut into your paper, I think they can sort of variate in length and height. So I created a new mechanism. I just measured how like deep it could be or high it can be. So I hide it behind that piece, and then I can attach this, liquid glue once more, and then press this down and attach my little moving piece here. You can see how this is opening. Looks perfect. I will have my little element. I will pop it up with some foam tape and it will open up. You can see how that floats when the recipient opened the card. I think that is so fun and super easy to create. I was inspired, I think it was Jennifer Maguire that created something similar. I just want to point that out. But when you create your cards, you have to like figure out your measurements so that they really fit behind your sort of opening. And then I just cut a sentiment, Happy Holidays. And for the other one, I will take another sentiment from that elegant Christmas sentiment set. I will take a piece of vellum. This is from Trinity. I will emboss it in gold. I will use my Misty just to get a perfect impression. And you can see here I'm just lining it up to the top of this, so I don't need to cut it too much in a second here. I'm using some embossing powder. No, some anti-static powder, and then I'm using clear sticky ink. I think this one is from Wow. And then I have my gold embossing powder ready to go. Just sprinkling that on top of my sentiment. I will heat set this off camera. This one is also from Wow. Beautiful metallic. And then I'm just rounding the edges of my panel. You can see here. And then I will sort of tuck this behind our arched shape here. I hope that makes sense. I'm just pressing it down. So when I'm opening this, my sentiment will also float and be a little bit see-through. I think that was a fun addition to this card. And it's also the same sentiment as I had on the inside or the outside of my card. And then I cut some embellishment. These are also from the Emergency Card Essential die set. I don't remember if it's the number 1 or 2, but I will have it linked down below. And I just think this created a really nice finishing touch for the inside of my card. So I hope you got inspired to create some interactive Christmas cards. These are actually super easy to create and the recipient will love them. And you can see the only extra step that I did was to cut into the front and create a little hinge. And you can do this in many ways. If you're mass producing, I would say that the green card is a little bit easier to mass produce because you can just run the same sort of die through your machine and you can have any image that you already have colored in on top. I will leave you with some close-up pictures of our project and I hope that you will be back soon. All the products that I used in this video will be listed down below, and until next time, have a great day. Bye!